What's up? Yapping session week 3, day 14. Basically, same thing. Um, so I've been kind of switching up a little bit how I would say have this piece of the video where I kind of talk about general thoughts because I want to start writing this down during the week with thoughts that come, and then on Thursdays when I make the videos, I can actually kind of dissect what I was thinking the week because now it's like before I know what's going on in the week, and then when I have to make the video, I kind of wrote down what I was thinking. But often, quite interesting thoughts get lost because you have them at the one moment, and then days go by and you forget what you were thinking. So it's nice to have like a way of like writing it down right away when it happens on this document, for example, and then yeah, making the video because that's the nice thing with this setup that I have now. I can just write on the document whatever I want, and then make the video looking at the document and remember what's up. So, first of all, I've seen the value in setting time slots. Um, is very interesting because I also read a book which was called The One Thing, and then it's very much into depth. I didn't read the book now; it's like a while ago, like about just time slotting that one important thing that gets you further in the business. And completely honest, I'm horrible at doing it myself. The whole thing about multitasking, so many things to do, and it's like, yeah, horrible. And it comes a little bit back. I definitely want to write this down because I think it's such an interesting theory. Is the 80-20% rule. If you haven't heard about this, you should definitely look it up. It's the most interesting thing in the world, which says that the easiest way is for me to explain is in business. So where it says that 80% of your revenue comes from 20% of the customers. And this can be applied almost to everything in life. And that's which is so interesting because you can think about business as I just said, but you can also, for example, think about 80% of the revenue you generate in your business comes from 20% of the work you do. So there's like 20% of work which is so important to do that it actually generates 80% of the revenue. So focus on the 20% is the point. You can dissect your whole life into this, and then you can take decisions and base it upon I should focus on doing the things that's the 20% in my life. Because I don't know the definition, but I think it's like 80% of results are caused by 20% of causes in a way. So that's like it's such a general thing that it can be applied to everything, and that's a little bit off topic. But yeah, I saw the value in time slotting, and then because the one thing book talks about like the one thing in your business is so important that you should time slot it, where every day you wake up 9 to 11 it's going to happen this thing you should do. So for example, in my business, it could be sales, sending out emails to people or sending out or calling people, and every day I should do that from 9 to 11. And that's in a way, for example, 20% of my daily work is that, but then it generates 80% of the money, and it's so important to keep doing that. But I definitely see two interesting things which I have to time slot, is making content, because that's such a thing that if you don't schedule it, it just doesn't happen. Sales is something where it kind of could happen here or there because you see something going on, you see email here, you see this and that, so you kind of do it throughout the week. And yeah, you have like maybe emailed some person last week and you follow up with them this week, and like it kind of happens naturally, in the business at least. But content is something, if you don't sit down for it, I've seen it just doesn't happen. And again, I myself am not good at it. That's why I see I need to do it, because it's interesting because you could actually potentially one day a month pick out, film so many pieces of content that you have the whole month filled, and then schedule them. So it sounds so easy and straightforward to do, but it doesn't happen anyway. And a lot of people don't do this, which is like weird because especially content is such a interesting piece in marketing. And I've been looking at a few guys talking about this, where he was also saying like it's only the way you can actually have multiple versions of yourself on the internet constantly selling for yourself. So if you have a topic you really want to sell and making pieces of content is the only way to literally duplicate yourself. Like hiring people is good, but it's not yourself. So it's very interesting way of doing it. And also by looking at these people and consumer content, I also wanted to go a little bit deeper into the inspiration part, because I follow quite a lot of different people who are in different terms of businesses and different like stages, and it's very inspiring to see and follow people who are a little bit further. One thing is like just seeing what kind of they do in the business and kind of like taking notes of what's working. Second is also just it's inspiring to for yourself to keep going, because not all of them, but quite a lot start talking lately more about like how tough it is and how they grinded through it. And having that like reference point is very nice to see, okay, I'm in this position now. For example, this person, which is like this level, was in the same position I am right now 5 years ago. So if I just keep it up for five more years, I'll be at that point, like not 100%, but you get the idea. It's very nice to reference it to some people, so you can kind of have, okay, the situation I'm in is normal and it's not how it should be, but in a way it is. Like this is just the way business works. Um, and a little bit building further upon that is that I have seen I think of all the people, now I'm talking really successful people, like let's say Alex Hormozy, Gary Vee, like the main marketing dudes, all of them say the same, as in you just have to keep working hard. And by time, by just showing up every day, by being consistent, things will fall in place. And that's kind of been really my driving factor, because also I know in a way I have a little bit too much of different things going on, and I feel my own brain and my own philosophy there was like, this is not working so good. So it's a little bit the shiny object syndrome, and this next thing will work. But of course, it's not so shiny that I do it 1 week and this I have done most of these things. This one, the agency and the growth operating and the ecom, I've been doing for like at least 2 years, at least a year. For this one is not really launched, but like I've done it for a year and worked on it. So it's not so shiny, but I do see or do feel like, okay, one of these things is really gonna take form and take shape and become kind of what I envisioned to be the 10K a month generating business model. Um, so I know is if I just keep putting in the hard work, it will fall in place at one point. And that's kind of my, yeah, I don't know how to say it, but my support in to keep going. There's a lot of other factors, but that's very um, like rewarding to see people who are like top of the chain in terms of marketing or business, that they say like all of them say the same. So then it's not just one guy having this particular opinion on it. Like all of them say the same. Like it was hard work, and consistent hard work is basically three words. So that's very interesting for me to kind of relate to, is on to because you kind of get like an easy to follow manual. You just have to show up every day and work hard, and then the rest will come. That's just what it is. So in a way, it's just almost a little autopilot. Like I'll have to show up every day, and it will come. So yeah, that's a little bit more the philosophical, deep stuff, which was quite deep. Oof. Wow. More onto the weekly updates. So the growth operator business, we've been actually a little bit more focusing on building the back end. So the actual funnels, the actual systems, the email sequences that go out, the email reminders. And actually, I kind of realized I really like making that. It's a little bit more the same in the agency, that I realized I really like making websites actually. And I've seen that I even told my wife I wish I was more of a designer, or not that I was a designer, but that I have some form of design background, because I feel the technical aspect of the funnel building and the website building I definitely have down. It is the actual design element that comes in play, which is, yeah, like 50% of a nice website making is the development, and 50% maybe is the design. Maybe the ratios are a little different, because yeah, I work also with some certain templates and some get inspiration from other designs you see. So it's a little bit maybe like a 60-40 split, but I definitely have realized, okay, it would have been very good if I had very design background. But I do realize I like building funnels and the backend system. I think it's more more something like you can build something so nice and then have it stable and working, and then you can look at it like, nice, I built this. I think that's a little bit an element that comes in play, which kind of like triggers me in a good way. um, Nice thing in the agency, like I've gotten a lot of leads lately. A lot of people are responding to the email outreach that I do. It's completely cold. It's quite standard in the ecom space to do it, but a lot of positive feedback is coming back from it. A lot of leads. I signed a new client, actually, a Belgian client, which is nice. And there's a lot of deals in the pipeline. I still have to be quite much better at follow up, because I know the money's in the follow up, and I have a lot of leads in the pipeline that I've sent the initial pitch, if you can call it that. Like, I do this, let's hop on a call. And then I know if I keep following up with them that they will, uh, some nice sales or some further communication will come from that. I've seen it happen many times in the past. So that's actually something I'm gonna write down, because it's so important for people to know. Because it's quite interesting to, if you ever done a very good follow up sequence with a lead that converted, it kind of changes your perspective a little bit. So a good example is one Cairo client I had, which, let's say I emailed him, or I think I linked up with him on LinkedIn, actually. Let's say a year ago. Um, Nothing came so much from it. Like, we kind of talked about his business, because he had like more like a chain, which is, I thought was interesting. So I talked a little bit back and forth, not so much pitching in the beginning, just a little talk about uh, this and that, just very low key. And then of course I was like, hey, I can help with marketing. Uh, Not so much came from that conversation, but for some reason we switched the conversation over to WhatsApp. Um, and it got a little bit more like easy to talk on WhatsApp than LinkedIn, which is always nice. Months go by, I text him, hey, how you doing? Just checking in. Nothing. Months go by, I check again. Nothing. And this happened for like almost like a year and a half, where like nothing happened for months. And I just follow up with a simple message. And I think I sent maybe like 5 or 6 messages. And then on a random Wednesday evening, he calls me on WhatsApp, and he kind of became a client right there and then. And that's almost one of the better, I would say, follow-up cases I have myself, because I have to be honest, again, I'm not the best at following up myself. I've built systems now for it, but at that time I was like, it's more like a free like a randomized process, and this lead is interesting, let me follow up here and there, and it was just not structured. And now I do have systems in place, but that was like a case where I actually did very well. And that's what I mean with, it's very nice to see, if you have one case where you did follow up well, and then you see it actually convert, you're like, oh wow, this actually does work. And it worked because I didn't give up after 4 times. I kept going for a fifth time and a sixth time, and then he suddenly called. So it's kind of to show you never know when the lead might close, like after how many follow-ups. So the golden rule is, you're not stopping until they say no, like a hard no, because that's all you want. I also, in the email sequence, I keep sending 3 or 4 emails in the initial phase until they say no, and then the email stops. So like, it's a little bit up to the people to literally say no to the email, because we don't know if they're interested or not. Like, some people literally read the email and are interested, but they don't say yes or no. So how are we gonna know that they don't know? So yeah, that's a very good, I would say, piece of advice. It's very obvious, but the thing is, it's so weird that it's so obvious and still people don't do it. So it's definitely just to hammer it in, like, keep following up until you get to know. And next, I would say the very nice and exciting thing is that Agape is launching. I would say I made the website completely done. I sent out to 2 people I know just to give feedback, like roast me. I told them to roast me completely, go crazy, which is good with feedback. I made a giveaway video, which I'll be pushing heavily. Did quite a lot of like items to give away, and I'm gonna hopefully create a little bit success in the algorithm with the video I'll make, because yeah, just by people watching it, commenting, reading the description, that of course pushes it. And then I said for extra entries you can share it with a person and send me DM proof, because I was watching a podcast, I think it was 2 months ago already, of the Instagram CEO saying that shares is the best metric for the algorithm. So that's kind of why I'm like, okay, this is something we need to keep in mind. And yeah, I hope to get some traction. And if it gets some traction, I'm going to boost the post to get even more organic reach on it. Not just only people who I know that tag people that I already know, which are very fine customers as well. But of course, it's nice to go a little bit beyond, sorry, the spectrum of just friends and family. And as a Christian, it's very nice. A very nice part of that is being in a big community. So I know literally people all over the world, which is a very advantage, I would say. And I'm hoping when I'm gonna be posting and pushing this first launch giveaway that will help the launch as well. That people I know are gonna repost it just out of goodwill, also maybe to get the giveaway, but just out of support. I do definitely count a little bit on that. Not that I count on it, but I'm expecting it a little bit, and if not, that's fine. So yeah, that's very exciting. I am hoping it's going to go well. And I think that's it for now. Not much more. Actually, very not proud of myself, but that's again the beauty of this series. I completely forgot about filming a video. It's 9 o'clock. Not that it's so late, but I was like, oh, I didn't film a video. I need to film. So I've definitely seen a good advantage of filming on every Thursday. I'm going to push a video. In a way, it's a little bit of a content time slotting because the whole day is the time slot, but it's at least a dedicated time and a place for it. But yeah, it's very nice to see that I'm holding myself accountable. That was the whole point of this video. How do you call it? Not sequence, but yeah, series. There we go. To kind of push myself to push more content out and just to keep consistent. So another lesson learned. See you in 7 days. Peace.